listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your background coming in here. Holy cow. Can benefit from current events. Most of all, everywhere it's coming back. It's all in stereo. I think we can figure out how to get rid of some of this somewhere. Got some new technology equipment coming in today, so we'll figure it out. There we go. I think we got it back to where we're supposed to. Holy cow, I thought I was talking to myself once again. I'm used to doing that at home, but not on the radio. Ooh. Before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest. Kris Murray, Anaheim City Council, is with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Wow, those guys are loud this morning. It's a Monday morning. Don't they know to turn it down? Let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, reach out to me, 800-306-1990. I have a great team, but when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We've got a lot on the docket this morning to chat about with you. I did notice, I've been telling you right along that there's this Saul Alinsky playbook that we're watching going on right now in a lot of areas. And this morning, did you see, I shared the article. I should probably look it up, but Bill O'Reilly exonerated. I thought that was pretty interesting seeing that one come out this morning, that the individual that make the accusations against him has now been arrested. That's kind of an interesting scenario right there. So we'll see where else that goes, how many other areas that plays out into. Problem is, unfortunately, the guy that started Fox News, he's the one that passed away. The channel will probably never be the same. I see that their ratings have gone almost as far down as the Enema Awards went last night. Did you check out, anybody watch that thing last night? As soon as they said that the host was Stephen Colbert, whatever he wants to call himself, you would know that it was not going to be something that I'd have any interest in watching. I saw some of the lowlights this morning, and as predicted, it is now 2 years in a row that their ratings are dropping. Maybe it's because some of us really do believe that we are just the deplorables and we have no problem with it. Moving right along. Did you check this one out? Steve Mnuchin out there chatting. Government-sponsored entity reform, they call it GSE reform, is on the back burner. No plans for changing Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Ginnie Mae. That's the latest from the administration. Both companies providing some good money to the Federal Reserve or to the Treasury Department. I guess that's what they like, that idea. They finally got a government program, federal government program, that is making some money. Well, guess what? The student loan system is making money too, so I'm not sure if that's a good one to follow, but they are making money. That's coming off the backs of our kids. So that's just another issue right there. Moving right along in the news, SBA is out there giving money. This is one of the few times the SBA does give money to cover mortgages. That's an issue out there. We watch what the SBA does, and we talk about them frequently, about the programs they have. But in Texas and in Florida, SBA out giving money to cover people's mortgages. That's going to be the area right now that's going to really generate the business. I'm going to look and see. I've talked to you about this before. A lot of business is going to come out of South Texas and Florida. You know, it's a horrible situation. I don't think anybody would say any different that what those folks, what our fellow citizens in Florida and in Texas are going through. Nothing but horrid over there. And our thoughts and prayers go out to the folks there. But on the flip side, out of that negative situation, there's going to be a lot of business. There's going to be a lot of jobs. There's going to be a lot of infrastructure. Not just in those areas. If you see a car, you got to be really, really careful if you want to buy a used car right now. Because if it's coming out of Texas especially, you don't want it. You want to stay away from it completely. So the idea there is be aware. And even... they've got this, they call it stripping of the data, stripping the registration. So they take off the registration from South Texas, put it into, well, maybe not Missouri. We don't want to talk about Missouri right now. I'll talk about that in a second. But you put it into a different state and people think that it's okay. It works for 400 or 500 miles. And then all of a sudden you find out that it was from Texas and it's been flooded. So if you have any questions about that, stay away from the area. Stay away from those issues. Missouri, once again, proving that they've got some real loons over there as well.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, they're dealing with the idea with these protesters. Why is it that you have a small business owner that decides to go into those areas and that's who the protesters are going to destroy their businesses, destroy their dreams? Unreal. You just got to watch out for that. And we did share this one with you as well. It's no surprise here. I should find my friend Gomer.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Dallas schools to consider new monikers for buildings named after Franklin, Jefferson, and Madison. It's just amazing how they continue to do these same stupid things. You could predict this a mile away. Of course, then again, we've got Los Angeles here who decided that we're going to get rid of Christopher Columbus in favor of indigenous people. Those are the ones that, you know, scalped people and, you know, they were not that much better, were they? I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Dateline Cuba. America, U.S. looking at closing the embassy in Cuba now. That's another interesting scenario. After there's a lot of health attacks for those Americans working at the embassy. Brain damage, hearing loss, serious issues there going as well. Unbelievable. A teacher in Michigan, you just go across the country. It's just, where has respect gone? A school in eastern Michigan placed a teacher on leave and launched an investigation after she allegedly snatched an 11-year-old student who sat during the Pledge of Allegiance. Stone Chaney, 6th grade student at East Middle School in Farmington Hills, Michigan, told the local TV station that he didn't stand up during the Pledge of Allegiance because I don't pledge to a flag, I pledge to God and family. That's a 6th grader. That's an interesting concept as a 6th grader. Unreal there also. And we also see now the backlash of students at Harvard University. They want Chelsea Manning, convicted traitor, to get the acclamations there of being a, I forgot the terminology they're using. But I have no problem with their speaking. But the issue there becomes a distinguished fellow, a criminal being a distinguished fellow. Okay, that's another interesting one. And obviously we talked about the $600,000 that was spent by Berkeley, the University of Berkeley in the broke state of California, because there was a lot of concern over Ben Shapiro. I mean, have you seen Ben Shapiro? And I don't mean to be prejudiced by just looking at somebody or profiling based on somebody's appearance. But Ben Shapiro looks to be a very petite, if you use that word for a man, but a very petite, a small, slight man, religious man, and they list him as one of the most dangerous people in America. That's another one that is unbelievable, but you know, there are some useless people out there.
Absolutely useless.
Yeah, amazing right there. We're going to get on with our topic today. Homeless in Southern California, homeless in Orange County. Is there a solution to the problem? I know that there are people that are afraid to go for a bike ride on the riverbed in Orange County. So we're going to talk to Kris Murray about that. Should you be selling a house this fall? Are you worried about your online information? We've been giving you the right place to go because you've been hacked. The likelihood is it's very... I did get one person now that has told me that they were not part of the breach. Out of all of the people that I talked to, I found one that was not part of the Equifax breach. And we told you how you can find out if you are or you're not. And some steps to figure out how much of a mortgage you can afford. All that and more. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter, @Ron Siegel, and if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694552.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. Chris Megason, good to see you. Our topic is exactly what you've been working on for years, so we're going to chat and pipe in there with some comments if you have any for us. 5 reasons to sell this fall. Reasons for listing your home for sale this fall make sense. Number 1, demand is strong. There is less competition now. The process will be quicker. There will never be a better time to move up. It's time to move on with your life. And that is really the most important part of listing and selling and buying houses. It's all about your family. That's what it is. That is the real-time real estate. I'm going to put this whole report out because I want to get into our featured content today, because I know it is a very, very hot topic right now. I get more comments on this. I see on all of our social media channels. There's about 49,000 people right now on our social media channels. I think it was 49,600 is the last count I saw. No, I didn't count them all one at a time. But homelessness, and boy, leading the charge in Southern California, Orange County, Anaheim, Kris Murray, welcome.
Well, thank you, Ron. Pleasure to be here.
It's amazing what you've been going through. I've been watching and some of your what's going on, and boy, you've got the stamina of a real workhorse on this. I'm sure the community's got to be eventually all this work's going to come to pass, and be thankful.
Yeah, no question. And first, I'd like to acknowledge my appreciation for the City Council, who voted unanimously on a program I proposed called Operation Home Safe. We started with calling a state of emergency. We have nearly 1,000 homeless people living in encampments around the city, mostly in the flood control channel, but in other parts of the city as well. We have impacts on their safety and also on the safety of the communities that live near these encampments. And we had to respond. It's hitting a crisis. We see it hitting crisis levels in San Diego and other parts of the country as well. Before it got to that level, I felt it was important for us to take really bold steps and to support the county in its ongoing efforts, and that's what the council did last Tuesday.
Well, one of the things that I thought was great about what you were doing with that, Kris, was the change. You know, so many of us that are observers of politics but not active participants. We frequently watch and see that the politicians frequently, they've got a study for every study. And it looked like what you really proposed, and I think it was 2 weeks ago, was really something to take more action than really a study.
Yeah, it's absolutely a plan of action. So Operation Home Safe stands for services and aid first. We need to make sure that those who need help are connected with services that truly help them. We have veterans, we have emancipated foster youth, we have families who are in financial and other crisis that are dealing with either transitional housing or homelessness. We have a certain, nearly half of the population dealing with a health or mental health, physical or mental health disability. And then we have a certain level of the population that has been recently paroled with very minimal to no probationary services, and across the board these are individuals who need our assistance, and we will provide it. But we also, so SAFE is services and aid, but it is also followed up with fair warning and notification. These encampments will not allow to continue. We are going to find services. We are going to find the shelter space. We're going to connect these individuals who are willing to accept our help with those services. But if they aren't willing to accept, and we offer it to them, then we can enforce the law and prevent trespassing, loitering, and camping in public rights-of-way. So, and then the E is enforcement. So, services, aid, fair warning, and enforcement. That's Operation Home Safe in a nutshell.
You watch and you see, I hear people on both sides just from our social media channels, and you hear there's the one group of people that says, you know, get rid of them, I don't care.
Right.
And then there's obviously the other group that says, you know, where are they supposed to go to? And it's got to be a real delicate balance, because I hear the folks that say, you know, I'm afraid to ride. You know, one lady that I spoke to said, I'm afraid to ride with my son down the riverbed.
Well, there's legitimate reason to fear for your safety and security for a host of reasons, but there is no one-size-fits-all to solving this issue. First of all, homelessness has existed for as long as the human race has existed.
Sure.
So no one's going to solve or cure homelessness, because some people actually choose that way of life, and they have that right to do so. They just don't have the right to impede on the civil liberties of others while they do it. But for those who are in genuine need, and we have a housing crisis as well in the state. We do not have a number of housing units for every individual that would like to have them. We have families doubling up. We have the millennials who can't afford to buy into the marketplace in California. We have a real dearth of housing product across the economic spectrum from all levels of our socioeconomic stratus. So the fact is we have a housing crisis, we have an escalating homeless problem, we have some propositions that passed that are cleaning out our prisons and our jails and literally returning people to the streets with no services or aid. It's a complex issue, but that doesn't give us the right to sit on our hands or speak bureaucratic responses to people who are living with the impacts of those decisions. This is a plan of action.
So what happens, like, you can't do anything, I guess, about the people that just want to be homeless.
Right.
The ones that bother me the most, and I've watched because of what the state government has done, is the mentally ill that are out there because, Fairview, I think they decided that there's nobody that's mentally ill, so they're going to make that a homeless shelter.
Yeah.
And my aunt worked for 40 years at Metropolitan Hospital. There's a lot of people that just are mentally ill, but the state's funding's gone away from that.
Yeah, and the only way to hold somebody who is mentally ill and is clearly in need of genuine medical assistance, the only way to hold them in any capacity under state law in California is if they are presenting a physical threat to themselves or to others under a 5150 hold. To provide comprehensive medical health care, it's very, very challenging in the state of California.
So where are those people going to be covered under the process that you've outlined?
So yes, we are working with a number of individuals who are experts in this field. So first, Susan Price, who's running the county's care and coordination services for the County of Orange, CityNet, and their caseworkers and their assistants. We have Mercy House, who's running Kramer Place. We have folks like Coast to Coast that help people reconnect with family members across the country and provide real intensive support on the ground. We have Veterans First that are really working and helping with our veterans who are homeless or having difficulty transitioning back when they come home. And then we also have folks like Grandma's House of Hope that provide transitional housing for women who have dealt with domestic violence or are dealing with other disabilities and debilitating issues. So we're working with every organization out there, quite frankly. This is an all-hands-on-deck emergency in Anaheim and Orange County, and we're responding holistically.
How did it get here, Kris? Because like you said before, that homeless has been around forever.
Right.
But all of it, it seems like it's manifesting so much more recently.
Yeah.
And we're 6 years past the mortgage crisis, mm-hmm. and it just seems like it's getting worse at where most of our society and our economics are getting better.
Yeah, and so it's counterintuitive, but the fact is, even for those who are working full-time, affording housing, rental, or purchase is, and you know this very well, is extremely difficult, particularly in Orange County. 54% of the population in the riverbed has identified as having come there in the last 2 years. And I think that speaks to the housing crisis. It speaks to Propositions 47 and 57, where we're literally just shuttling people out in the middle of the night out of our prisons to relieve the burden on the prisons, but it becomes the burden of municipalities and neighborhoods. And then we also just have a number of folks who are coming from out of the state because our climate's better and there are resources here. So it's multifaceted as to how we got here, but the fact is now we have to respond. We have to respond swiftly.
So when you get to the enforcement, we'll go through some of the others in the next segments. When the enforcement parts of it, once those folks have been notified that you're not going to be able to stay here, you've got the warning, you've got the notification. How do they go about getting rid of them? Because probably if you put them in jail, that at least gives them a home.
We'll have to work with law enforcement on how to handle that in a way that doesn't escalate, but the fact is that our first priority is going to be reaching out to every single individual and offering them services and offering them shelter that is a far more secure place than the riverbed. There are unfortunately those that are setting up, and the San Diego Tribune went down there over the weekend and interviewed some folks who said, "We love it down here. It's basically like hanging out on a river for them," and they don't want to go because they have a lot of quote-unquote freedom. The fact is their freedoms are infringing on the freedom and rights of others, and so we have an obligation to enforce the law. It's very clear when you go down to the riverbed. I spent a lot of time down there, and the signs are large. They say no loitering, no trespassing. Our anti-camping laws at the county and the city should prevail. The only reason the courts have pushed back at all is because there aren't enough beds today for the number of total homeless population in the county. But if we can identify those in the encampments within our city, not just on the flood control channel, but in other parts. We have a new encampment along the 91. We have some cropping up near Boysen Park. If we can reach out to every one of those individuals and provide them shelter or an alternative place to sleep, then legally we can proceed with making sure we enforce the law.
Great information. We're going to continue our conversation discussing the homeless problem in Orange County and throughout the country, but maybe Orange County we're going to talk to Kris Murray further, might be a pattern or a model for other parts of the country to work from. We'll talk more about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We'll also talk about, are you worried about your online information? I get a package from Amazon every day. You might as well. We'll talk about some solutions there and ways to protect yourself and steps to figure out how much mortgage you can afford. It's National Cheeseburger Day, so we'll talk about that also. If you missed any part of our broadcast, if you want to reach us anytime, our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or simply call 800-306-1990.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has these solutions for you. Don't forget EquifaxSecurity2017.com. EquifaxSecurity2017.com. It'll take you about 5 minutes to register there, and you can make sure that your information is safe. You'll find out that so far, all but one person that I've heard from has told me that their information was part of the Equifax breach, all but one. So the likelihood is, being that it's 144 million Americans, take out the kids, take out some seniors that may not have a lot of credit going on, it's almost everybody. Worried about your online information? How about a virtual credit card? Something that's relatively new coming out. The credit card companies are issuing a virtual card. It's a temporary 16-digit credit card number that you can use to shop online. Depending upon the provider, your charges may show up on your monthly credit card statement, along with purchases made with your physical card. Think about that. I just got the Square Cash card, and it's a pretty simple card. Every time I spend something on it, I get an email that says I spent it. But if I give that card at a restaurant or whatnot, I know exactly how much money's on that card available at every given moment, because it's kind of like a debit card, but it doesn't attach right to the bank. Just a few thoughts for you. That's the Your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. Continuing our conversation, Kris Murray, Anaheim City Councilwoman, is with us talking about homelessness. And Kris has been one of the big leaders in the community of doing some work along with that. I know, Kris, you like to give a lot of credit to everybody else, but I've been watching all the things that you've been doing, and it's just been amazing, the amount of work and hours, and holy cow, I don't know, I certainly couldn't keep up with you, but I mean, I see some of your messages coming in 1:50 in the morning,
yeah,
and early morning meetings. I mean, you've got a lot done in a very, very short period of time.
Well, thank you. It has been a team effort. I certainly can't take credit alone, but I'm proud to stand up and try to lend a leadership voice, given the position I hold as a council member, to help bring together all of our resources. And I tag team with amazing individuals, the County Board of Supervisors and their staff, Frank Kim, Susan Price, and all of the staff that are working on this issue at the county as well. Under Sheriff Don Barnes, who's been helping to lead the sheriff's response on a public safety front. So this really is, Operation Home Safe is intended to be a model, not just for Anaheim, but for all 34 Orange County cities, to integrate and work seamlessly with the county as the lead agency for all of our social services programs in the county, to make sure that we're all basically rowing in the same direction. I sort of see the county as the boat and all of us cities as the oars, and if we're all moving together, we can solve this problem and solve it swiftly, at least from the standpoint of the public safety aspect for all of our neighborhoods and communities. That is our foremost job as elected officials, is to provide for public safety, and that's what this plan of action does.
So there's been a couple of areas that with the involvement that my wife and I have had with some homeless areas. Chris Megason, and I think he's watching us right now, done a tremendous job in northern San Diego, and he had a big challenge because he only wants to work with one segment, or he's focused on one segment. He works on family homelessness. Mm-hmm. And he ended up losing all of his funding from America's First because he refused to put sexual predators in with kids.
Right.
How do you get around some of those, the stuff that comes from Washington that kind of contradicts what you're trying to accomplish?
And that's a problem at the state and federal level, and we need some relief. Communities need relief, and so I look forward to working with Chris, and I'm aware of his program actually in San Diego. We have the same issue with Grandma's House of Hope and other programs here. If you put any limitations in place, you risk your federal and state funding. And the fact is, we have to have some of these parameters. Requiring sobriety should not be a limit on your federal funding. Requiring the separation of families from some of the criminal elements that need our help The alternative should not be for them to live on the streets if they want assistance, but they can't be mixed with children for obvious reasons. So we need our federal officials, we need our state officials to please help us with the smell test. Common sense is necessary here to be successful.
And I look at people like yourself and the others that you've mentioned that are doing a great job in trying to take the government side of this. But you look at what Kris is doing. I had a conversation Saturday morning with another gentleman. His focus wants to just be on, he's a veteran, he wants to focus on veterans. And you look at it and say, something, the private sector has a place, right, if the government gets out of the way or coordinates with them. Because Kris wants to work with the families, Eric wants to work with just the veterans. Okay, let them. Right, I'm sure you guys can use some help.
We have so many of these nonprofits. Veterans First is a great example. They could house more. Funding is the issue. And then, like you said, all the funding comes with all of these catches and strings attached. So we really need, and I'm hoping with this new administration that perhaps they could repeal some of the strings and the red tape that are keeping this funding from getting to where it needs to go to truly provide genuine relief and help to those who need it. It doesn't mean that you need that what's called low threshold service and shelter. The courtyard in Santa Ana, anybody can come in and they will provide a bed. There's over 400 beds there. I know they can take capacity, I think, up to 500. And that is your low threshold. So anybody is welcome. They certainly don't have children in there. There's other places where the county works to put children, but the fact is you need that level of service in some. But there are organizations who want to work in a tailored way, in a focused way, with these individual groups who need help, like our veterans, like our families, like the emancipated foster youth. There are many of a huge percentage that are 18 to 25 who've been, in the system their whole life and don't have family to rely upon. So we need targeted help to those as well. And the federal and state funding often comes with a lot of strings attached that prevents it from getting to those who need it.
So one of the things I don't go over to the city council meetings. I can't stay up that late. Is especially getting up to do a morning broadcast. But I watch them on video. Thank goodness you guys have that. And it almost sounds in some instances like there's a big block wall between the city of Anaheim says, okay, well, this isn't our jurisdiction, and then the county we know has to deal with what's their jurisdiction. Is there a mesh between the two?
Yes, there is, and that's part of what Operation Home Safe called for. And so that the county and the cities have been working on what's called a memorandum of understanding. I know it sounds bureaucratic, but it is an agreement essentially where we will work cross-jurisdictionally, multi-jurisdictionally to address the issues in the flood control channel and other parts. The same thing we're having at 91 with Caltrans. The fact is, where these encampments crop up, we can't be pointing our fingers at each other and saying it's your job, it's your job.
Right.
It has to be working together. So that MOU is being negotiated now. Operation Home Safe directed city staff to negotiate that and bring it back to council for approval so that the city can be a good faith partner with the county on the public safety aspect as well, because jurisdiction should not be a reason not to enforce the law.
Now, I'll throw a little bit of a tricky question at you, or pointed, but with all of the turmoil that we seem to see, especially in Anaheim, when you talk about city staff, is it functioning properly with the changes? It seems like there's a change consistently.
I think our staff's doing the best they can under extraordinary circumstances. I was opposed to the recent termination of our most recent city manager. We're on our 6th city management search in nearly 7 years.
Wow.
It's hard for any organization to function at the highest capacity when staff's under that level of stress, and that much change is happening at the top. We also are still in a search for a permanent city attorney. Our last one that was chosen was fired the week before Christmas.
That's nice.
Without cause. So I was opposed to that as well. So we haven't had a permanent city attorney in place for nearly 2 years now. And I do think that's dysfunctional. But I want to caveat that by saying we have exceptional individuals serving in an interim capacity with as much power and authority as that affords them. And the staff, we have an exceptional staff in the city of Anaheim at the executive management and frontline level. I can't speak more highly of the city staff in Anaheim, and I'm going to be there to support them in every way I can.
That's comforting to know as a resident, because you watch some of these things and you realize that how do people work under those conditions? And Anaheim, this is just one issue in Anaheim.
Right.
Anaheim's got a lot of things going on, good, bad, and different. And you got these folks that are looking over their shoulder, it seems like.
Well, that's why it's important with Operation Home Safe that on an issue that's escalating as dramatically as this one is, which is homelessness, that the city put in place, that the council put in place really firm direction. There's no gray area on what Home Safe is calling for, which is a genuine plan of action. First, the state of emergency, then we're designating a person who's responsible.
What does that mean, Kris?
Yeah.
I heard you say that, and to bring that up. What is a state of emergency? I mean, we hear about that in Irma. We heard about that in Harvey. What does it mean from a local level?
Well, we have in our local code, our municipal code, a state of emergency for disasters. If we were to have a fire event or earthquake or anything that was natural disaster, like all communities. But it also, the council has the ability to call for a state of emergency to open up local, state, and federal resources for any number of reasons it deems a truly unique and urgent situation, which we have declared with this matter with Operation Home Safe and the homeless escalation we have along our borders and throughout our community. So we did it here as well, but it really is about opening up those additional resources and funding at all levels of government, and having all levels of government assisting and helping us as well, and us being a reciprocal partner in the effort. We're not just reaching out and asking, please come help us. We're saying we're going to step up, we're going to help as well, but we can't do it alone, nor can the county do it alone. City shouldn't be looking at the county as the Calvary. It's not entirely their responsibility. We all have responsibility as it pertains to public safety and governance, and this is about all of us coming together and working together.
Great information. And when we come back, I want to talk to Kris Murray about, is this a Band-Aid or are we really solving the underlying problem? So we'll talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Steps to figure out how much of a mortgage you can afford. I might throw that out of our conversation today. We'll see about where our time fits. You can reach us anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Most businesses struggle to get the online reviews they need to get a competitive edge over their competition. Rex is a brand new technology that uses text messages to direct happy clients to your online review sites, Zillow, Google, Facebook, and Yelp, and unhappy clients to a private survey, so businesses can win more customers. Try Rex today by going to www.meetrex.com. Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel Team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send find you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRENMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime. At 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We're going to flip over our normal processes and agenda so we can continue our conversation with Kris Murray. We've only got about 8 or 10 minutes left with Kris, so we're going to continue our conversation talking homelessness. So, Kris, I see through the Operation Home Safe model that we've been talking about this morning, sounds like we're finding you're giving the folks some options as to where they can go, and some warning that they can't stay where they're at, and warnings also that they're going to be gone one way or another.
Right.
The big issue that I worry about in a lot of these areas, and that we saw when I went and watched when it was a couple of years ago when they were talking about the homeless shelter in Anaheim, and I guess they're doing it in other areas, that you've got these shelters, and it seems like it's kind of like a Band-Aid, right? You're putting a Band-Aid on something that really needed stitches. And the issue is the people, they need a home, but they also need a job, and that's one of the things I love with what Kris has done out in his world, is they're giving them training as to how to be a citizen, with a job and financial training, and especially when you talk about some of the emancipated group. Is any of the process that you're talking about here going to have that training so that these people can get back into society? Maybe they can't afford to live. I'd love to live in Newport Beach. I can't put put up a tent so I can live right on the water. It's not fair. Right. Some of the folks that are on the riverbed, maybe they can't afford to live in Anaheim, but maybe they can afford Corona. Right. Are there processes in here to train some of these?
Well, first, the county's continuum of care and their services that they provide are focused on helping people with job training, with re-education, with computer skills, with other types of assistance. Kramer was designed to provide those wraparound services and ensure that we're not just, like you said, giving a Band-Aid or a bed, but really connecting somebody long-term to services. So engaging the Veterans Association, engaging our social service agencies, engaging our universities and community colleges and others. So this is about providing that holistic level of care for those who will accept it, and for those who won't, trying, in many cases it can take 6 or 7 touch points before somebody is trusting enough to take that next step too. So it is broad, and it is intended to provide long-term success. I will tell you, it doesn't sound rapid for a lot of folks who want immediate relief, but we've helped, just in the last couple of months, the county's effort with CityNet has helped over 60 individuals get into permanent placement or permanent level of care off the riverbed, have basically emancipated them from the riverbed. And in Anaheim, since 2014, the council that came together with our program, Coming Home Anaheim, since 2014, we've helped almost 800 individuals.
Wow.
So these programs are working. We just have to sort of double down and really step it up. And then it has to be followed by true enforcement of our municipal laws and the protection, not just for those who live there, but for the communities nearby. And, I don't want to plagiarize from Game of Thrones, but winter is coming. I mean, the flood control channel is not a safe place for anyone to live in any sense of permanency. There is nothing safe or secure or sanitary about that. We are looking at some parcels of land, and the county will take the lead in this effort. It's premature to talk about where they could be, but there are opportunities that we are investigating and looking into right now that would provide both additional emergency shelter as well as long-term shelter opportunities. And then we're working with the county to open the additional 100 beds at Kramer Place. And one thing that I love about Kramer, and I worked on that project for 2 years with Supervisor Spitzer and the entire Board of Supervisors, as well as my colleagues in neighboring cities, there was so much resistance to Kramer, the Bridges Place Kramer in Anaheim, so much concern about what that would do for the neighboring community and business districts. Everyone I'm talking to down there has said it has been an asset. It has relieved the homeless issue.
I was going to ask you about that.
It has been nothing but positive response. One of our most vocal critics came to us at a town hall just last week and said, I was one of the staunchest opponents to this, and I can absolutely say they have done a great job. So if we continue to set up these models that have success, that are assets to these communities, then we can build other ones around the county, because there will be a level of trust that the residents and businesses can understand that we're serious about real care.
And that's going to be the biggest issue, is getting that publicity out there.
Right.
Right? I mean, because I remember seeing the one that they were talking about at Kramer, and the residents around the area, they were in arms.
Oh no, we had a number of hearings where over 800 people came in for and against, but it was vitriolic and it was very challenging to get that open. So that's why it's important to sit down with folks like you and talk to the reporters that are interested, and really help get the word out that these programs are working. We need the residents. I mean, this is going to have to be a partnership with residents as well. Government will not succeed alone. It's got to be a community effort, and we need residents to embrace, and our businesses to embrace these models, because having people live on the streets is not the solution.
Well, you hit something real quick there, Kris, that I think that you have to expand on a little bit, because so many people look, especially in California now, and I'm a political person, so that's okay, that the government has to solve every problem. And this isn't going to be solved just by government. It's a small business person that goes out there and says, you know something, we're going to hire some of these folks and train them.
Right.
That's going to be a whole new issue. I thought I saw, I should have brought it up, but I think Anaheim and the Chamber of Commerce having
our job fair on Wednesday. So I hope folks will come out. And we are targeting services for veterans transitioning back into the workforce, as well as our at-risk youth and young folks graduating into a job market that is still precarious for many. And so we're going to help those folks. Resume development, we have a number of workshops. It's at the Convention Center, opens at 9, goes till about 4. It's free both to the employers setting up booths as well as those who are looking to attend at the Anaheim Convention Center on Wednesday, September 20th.
Are there apprentice programs, like, I don't know whether it's through HomeSafe or through this other event? You know, when I was young, way back when, we used to have, I think they called it ROP, right, where you could actually learn to be an electrician, a plumber, a mechanic. We don't have those courses anymore. Are those part of any of these things?
Yes. In fact, our building trades are part of the job fair, and they will be there in force as well on Wednesday. But they have also, I've already talked with the head of the LA Orange County Building Trades about Operation HomeSafe and the effort we've got here. They want to be helpful in trying to see if they can help veterans and others that are in a state of homelessness also get into their apprentice and local hire jobs as well. So we're going to reach out to everybody. Like I said, all hands on deck. If people want to be a part of this effort, we welcome your support. Again, this was approved unanimously by the Mayor and City Council in Anaheim. We're moving forward, and it is first and foremost about that continuum of care for those in need.
So I noticed the last question I have for you. There was a town hall sort of thing in the council chambers. I watched you at it on live streaming. And how do we get a hold of those things, and how do other people reach out to help or to ask questions?
Well, first, you can always reach out to the City Council as a whole at the email address council@anaheim.net. It's COUNCIL, council@anaheim.net, to weigh in on this issue, to reach out if you have a service provider, or to ask a question or to express an opinion. So that's the best way to reach the council as a whole. Our council meetings are posted on our website, anaheim.net, and we even have an entire page dedicated to the homeless issue. If you if you go right to the homepage, it's under major issues for the city of Anaheim on our website.
Awesome. I appreciate you coming in. I know you've got another commitment at the top of the hour, so I'm going to push you out, but say thank you for all the hard work you're doing, and I know our community is going to be better for it.
Well, thank you.
So
appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in, and safe travels.
Thank you very much.
We're going to continue our conversation. Now we'll get into some of our other content. Robin, thanks for being with us. hope we had some good information. If Kris, I'm sure, and her staff will monitor what's going on these Facebook pages. So if you've got questions, comments, we'll make sure that those get over to Kris and her team and to the council. So continue posting those there. And I'm going to also share with you our Mortgage Minute today, being brought to you by Gold Star Mortgage. Steps to figure out how much of a mortgage you can afford. That is the topic today. Not used to doing this at the bottom of the hour, at the top of the hour, at the end of the broadcast, but we'll give it to you anyway. We wanted to make sure we gave as much time as possible to Kris Murray, who's really leading this, championing this with her colleagues in both Anaheim and the County of Orange. Kris Megason, I did share with Kris what you've got going on, and she'd love to chat more. She is familiar with your program as well. How do you figure out how much of a mortgage you can afford? Well, the big issue, number one, is prepare a budget. Account for increased expenses. That's a big portion of it. And determine your optimal mortgage payment. That's another part. You might be able to afford more than what you really want to spend. That is the issue there. We'll talk more about this tomorrow as well, because we did go over a little bit longer by design with Kris Murray. It is a major, major issue that we are chatting about here in Orange County. But be sure to set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Steve, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.